talk. A big thank you to our speaker tonight, Obaidur. He has prepared something really special for us. And thanks to all the guys who helped to cook the delicious Indian biryani. And
Thank you guys.
Is it on? The camera? Thank you all for coming, guys, and thanks Culture Talk for hosting. Let's go back.
What the fuck you doing?
Okay, I'm Obaidur Rahaman. I'm from India. Today I'm going to give a talk which is not so much about India, but it is about the experience of an Indian far, far away from India. That is all the way to the other side of the globe, which is South America. First of all, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm Obaidur Rahaman. I was born and brought up in Kolkata, India. You've heard of Kolkata? It's a very big city. There are some Kolkatans here too. Then to study, I went to Bombay, which is another big city, even bigger. I did my bachelor's there in Indian Institute of Technology. I studied engineering physics. And then I went for a PhD in USA, University of Delaware. I got my PhD in physical chemistry. In the US, I really enjoyed meeting a lot of people. It's very, very international. So I always wanted to explore and meet. I always enjoyed meeting people from all over the place. So I decided not to stay in the US, and I came to France. And I started a postdoc position there, doing research in biophysics. And I was in Paris. It's a very, very exciting city, and I was doing a lot of activities, visiting the museums. All that was very good. But then I wanted to do something strange, something that will challenge me. I had this fear in me. I don't know how many of you have the same thing. Whenever I wanted to travel somewhere, I don't know whether it's because I'm from India, we always do things together. So it's a lot of fun. So when you travel, we also travel together. It's also a lot of fun. But I could never travel myself alone. Whenever I wanted to go somewhere, I'll ask some of my friends, do you want to come with me? And if they come, then I go there and enjoy. And if they don't come, I'll mostly just cancel the plan. So I wanted to do something about it. It's a fear of traveling alone. So I wanted to challenge myself to do something that will challenge me to overcome this fear of traveling alone. So then I started to think, where shall I go? I thought I should probably go very, very far away, where nobody knows me. That's where it was really challenging. So I was thinking of Africa, and then I had a friend, Dunya. She suggested me to go to Peru. Because the year before, she visited Peru and she met some friends. So I wanted to travel alone, but I didn't have so much courage that I would just go to an African country or South American country or somewhere all alone. So I wanted to make some connection, meet a person, know a little bit about local things, and then take it on my own and start my own journey. So I ended up going to Peru. But before that, I'll tell you what are the problems I had to face. First of all, of course, if you want to go somewhere, you need to get a visa, right? And that is quite a story. I'll tell you about that. For a Western traveler, traveling is very easy. Getting a visa is very easy. You just go to the border of the country, most of the country in the world actually. You just get a stamp in your passport and you go ahead. For Indians, it doesn't work that way. With an Indian passport, if I want to go to South America, for each and every country, I'll have to get a visa. And I cannot get this visa at the border. I have to process it before. And then I can only go. That makes it very difficult. So I planned to go to Peru. I thought I'll take a whole year off. This is called a gap year. It's very popular in the West to take a gap year. Many of the students, what they do is before they start their college or before they start working, they take a 1 year gap and they travel around do many things that they always wanted to do, but they never had the time. But I've never heard that from any Indians. I have many Indian friends, and I have never heard that an Indian took a gap year. So I thought, okay, that sounds interesting. Let's do it. Let's do something that, I don't know, I'm sure some of them did it, but I didn't know any of them. So I took 1 year, I planned for 1 year, I saved some money, and then I went to the Peruvian consulate in Paris, and in the website it was written that I could get a visa for 6 months. So I made plans accordingly. I told everybody that I'm taking 1 year off, I'm traveling. In South America it sounded very cool, awesome. So I was very super excited. And when I went for the visa interview, they said something that crushed me completely. They said with an Indian passport you can get a visa for only 1 month. I was like, that ruins like the whole plan, because that doesn't make sense to go all the way to South America and then all the way back to India for 1 month or maybe another month in another country. So then I was thinking this was very unfair. So I requested them, I talked to them. They said, after a lot of convincing, they said maybe 2 months, okay. So I thought, okay, maybe 2 months is good enough. Then what I did is, I thought 3 months would be even better. So what I was thinking about, so I was thinking about this problem, going back and forth from the consulate to home, always thinking, walking and thinking in Paris. And what I did is I wrote a long letter explaining that I'm not like a refugee or somebody like that. So I'm not just going to go to Peru and just not return. I explained everything. I attached my certificates there. Certificates from IIT, certificates from United States. And eventually they granted me for 3 months. So I managed that. And then I wanted to visit a few other countries because it's very interesting, every country is very different. So I also got a visa for Brazil. This time I didn't have any problem. I got another visa for 3 months in Brazil. And then I wanted to do another country, Bolivia. Then I figured out, actually there are some countries where you can go with an Indian passport and you can get the visa at the border. Bolivia was one of them. So okay, I thought, okay, I'll get the visa at the border, no problem. So I started. Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, this is my itinerary. I will give you a couple of seconds to look at it. Starting from Lima, capital of Peru. So what do you think? How does it look like? Sorry? Interesting. Any other comment?
Do you went in the Pacific Ocean?
Pacific Ocean? Yeah, I touched it. Yeah,
You went down?
yeah, Lima is at the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
How does it look like? It looks very chaotic, I think. Don't you think?
What does that mean? Or road to that's trend?
The trend, yes, this route is trend. I only took trend one time. That's trend. This looks very chaotic, and also the arrows are very curvy. So you might think, okay, just because the arrows are curvy, it looks chaotic. Actually, the real routes are much more curvier. So I had a plan that I wanted to do this and that, a nice chart, but none of that worked. This is why my itinerary looks like this. So I'll tell you a little bit of stories of why that's so. So I started in Lima, I went to Cusco, it's very famous for Machu Picchu. I wanted to see Machu Picchu. That's one of the main reasons I wanted to go to Peru. Then I entered Amazon. I went to Brazil for a little bit, for 10 days. And then I got into Bolivia, still in the Amazon area. Then I went to the Andes, the hill, La Paz. Went down to see the Salar. Went back to La Paz, all the way back, entered Peru again, all the way back to Lima. I'll tell you a little more details about my itinerary now. Let's go. Next one. This is my friend Sonia. My friend Dunya, she met her when she went to visit Peru, and she helped me a lot. She was very welcoming. She helped me in the visa process, paperwork, everything. And I went there. She invited me to stay at her apartment. It was very helpful. about 20 days I stayed there. She taught me very basic Spanish. I didn't have any knowledge of Spanish, so I didn't have the time to learn, take a class or something like that. I only learned through internet, some software. The most important thing she taught me was how to go to a restaurant and ask for food. It was very important. So she accompanied me to Cusco. So there are really very interesting places in Cusco. This is one of them. Cusco was the capital of the Inca people. You guys heard of Incas, right? Inca civilization. It's an ancient civilization. And they came up with the brilliant idea of agriculture. They were living in the hills, they didn't have plain land, so they built these terraces. And these are actually gigantic. You can probably see the size of it. They're huge. And they grew like corns and potatoes. By the way, Peru is a country of infinite number of varieties of potatoes. I've never seen so many different shapes, different colors. And this is Ollantaytambo. It's also near Cusco. They have also built terraces like this. And this was one of the important cities of the Incas. And the Inca cities were very interesting. If you just go there and look at it, you will not get the shape of it.
Oh, sorry.
Let's go back, please. But if you look from the top, these cities actually look something like that. Something like an animal, like a puma or like a condor. So from the top view, it's like an animal. It's amazing how they build these cities. Let's go to the next one. And the most famous, Machu Picchu, of course. I was very excited to see Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu is the so-called lost city of the Incas. There's very interesting history. When the Spanish conquistadores, they conquered the Inca civilization, they conquered Cusco, but this city, Machu Picchu, nobody could find it. It got lost from all knowledge. And it was lost for a long time, for about 300 years. And in 1911 or something, Hiram Bingham, American archaeologist and historian, discovered this. And it was a big news because it was a city built by the Incas, and it's a very special city. And it got lost for such a long time. And this place is very special. When you go there, there's a strange feeling. This specialty is visible in all kinds of senses. For instance, this place is in between two hills, like in a valley, and this whole place is surrounded by taller hills. It's like completely secluded from the rest of the places. No wonder that nobody couldn't find it. So I and Sonia enjoyed exploring Machu Picchu, and then she went back to Lima. Then my real solo journey started. Okay. So in Cusco, I saw many things, interesting things, and so I was a bit tired of seeing the touristy things. So I wanted to do something different. So I thought, okay, I saw this valley on the way to Machu Picchu, and it looked really amazing. It was like a dream. When I saw this, I thought I was dreaming. Great valley, hills with ice at the top. I thought I'll just go randomly, take the bus, and get down somewhere, and start walking, and just enjoy it. So that's what I did. And I saw amazing views. The views are just amazing in Andes. Then I was walking all by myself. Suddenly I saw there were a bunch of guys working in the field, and one of them called me. I was like, you're calling me? I didn't know how to speak Spanish very well either. So I went there, and this guy invited me for a drink, just randomly. And it was very good because I was very thirsty already. So he invited me for a drink and started talking to me. These localites actually don't even speak Spanish. They speak Quechua, which is the language of the Incas. And I didn't know a single word of Quechua, of course. But he spoke a little bit Spanish, I spoke a little bit of Spanish. We had a very basic conversation. They were very excited to know that I am from India. They have never met anybody Indian. It was very exciting for them. I said, that soy de otro lado el mundo. I'm from the other side of the world. And they were very excited to hear that. So they offered me a drink, I continued. At the end of the day, another group invited me for another drink. I had another chat, and this is the scene from the second one. Okay. Then from Cusco, I went to Amazon, and I was very excited to go to Amazon because I've always heard of Amazon, and it's an amazing place. You'll see some pictures of that. So I went to Puerto Maldonado. It's a city in Peru, where there is it's like an entrance point to a big national park, Tambopata National Park. It's protected by the government. It's completely wild, so it's not allowed to settle there. But there are some guest houses where people can go and stay there. So normally people they take a guide, they pay the guide, and the guide takes them around. Because it's like forest, you don't know where to go, there are dangerous animals, all that. So I was backpacking, right? So I didn't have so much money. I figured out that if I take a guide, it's going to cost me a lot of money, and I can only go there for 2 days. So this was Amazon, I was waiting for it for a long time. So I wanted to stay a little longer, so I was trying to figure out how can I do this. So I started talking to people, and I figured out that there is a Spanish family, that they have a hut or a guest house inside the national forest, and they can host, but they cannot guide you. So I thought, okay, maybe I can do this. I came all this way. So I went there, and I managed to make a conversation with them in Spanish. And I told them, the family, that tengo mucho tiempo, pero no mucho dinero. I have a lot of time, but I don't have so much money. And their face was like, oh, another of them again. But they were very nice, they accepted me. So I went there, I planned for 10 days in Amazon. So I was going, we were on the way, and I managed to find another guy, an Italian guy, very young, very strong boy, very energetic, very enthusiastic, adventurous, and a little bit crazy. So I found him to go with me because I thought it would be more fun with another guy. So we're just entering the Amazon. This is one of the family members who are hosting us. On the way we saw these ants, a line of ants, and they carry these huge leaves. It looks amazing. It's like a possession with big leaves. So this was the hut that we stayed, I and my Italian friend, Andrea. This hut was very basic. You can see, it's just made of wood. And there were gaps between the wall and the roof. And all kind of insects and animals were coming in. First day we had a spider. Second day we had some cockroaches. Then we had even a bat got inside. But we somehow survived. Andrea hunting the spider. I don't know why, because in India we are not so afraid of spiders. Europeans, if they see spider, they jump. Spider. So this national park had a huge lake, Lake Sandoval, Lago Sandoval. This was a really gigantic lake. Like if you go from one side to the other, it will take half an hour, 1 hour by boating. And basically what you do there is you take the boat in the morning, and that's a very good time to see the animals because they wake up and they're hungry, they're eating. That's a great time to see them. So we did some of that. One of the family members helped us. He took us around, but he was not a I didn't pay for a professional guide, right? So he was not a very professional. He didn't know how to actually watch wild animals. He was making too much noise while walking, and if he hears some noise of some bird, he'll try to mimic it so that the bird replies. Every time he made the noise, there was silence. So we kind of got tired of him, and we wanted to do something on our own. And I and Andrea, once we were planning to go with him. So he told us, just wait for me at the lake and I'll take you. And then we went there and we saw the boat. So two guys wanting to do some adventure, one boat. You know what happens. We took the boat and took it on our own. And we took it on our own, and this lake is full of amazing animals. Let me give you a couple of examples. Like caimans. Caimans are crocodilians. They're huge. They can be 5 meters long. So this lake is full of them. And then you have piranhas. You've heard of piranhas, right? There's this small fish. They have huge teeth. They come in groups and they can attack you and they can kill you. Then they have jaguars in the land. They have lobos. There's river otters and all kind of birds. I've never seen such a great variety of birds. Peru has like thousands of different species of birds, different colors, different calls, different types and species. So we explored all that. And Andrea, he wanted to do a little more. He's always he said that, look, there is a grassland, I can see that. I have heard that caimans like to sunbathe in the grassland. Let's go there. Going close to the caimans, are you sure? When we went there, I didn't see any caimans, but we heard some strange noise from the inside the forest. And Andrea got very curious. He said maybe it's tapir. It's another animal, very exotic animal in Amazon. And we tried to follow these animals. I was like, Andrea, are you sure it's not a jaguar? I don't know how the jaguar calls. So we tried to explore a little bit. I had this, we were boating, right? So I took this paddle in my hand in case some attack happens somewhere. Then we went after them a little bit. I saw some animal from far, not very clearly. So then I convinced him not to go after them. They are very dangerous. So we came back, had fun. After 2 days, Andrea left because he wanted to just continue. And I decided, I had so much fun with him. I thought, okay, he's leaving. I saw him going with his backpack on, and I'm going to be left behind. I felt like, let me put my backpack on and go with him. But then I resisted because I wanted to do this alone. I wanted to have some experiences all by myself. So I stayed behind. Another guest in the hut is a tarantula. They are very poisonous as well. And this family had a little boy, and he said that he's going to show me tarantulas. And I thought, okay, great. So part of them, I read about them, that you can see tarantulas. And he said, okay, tonight in the evening, today in the evening, we can go. So I took my flashlight, I took my dress on, I put my boots and everything, and he saw me and he said, you don't need to put your shoes on. It's not, it's muy cerca. It's very close. Like, very close, okay. And then he took me just behind my hut. Showed me this. And I had all these holes in the hut. Luckily I had a mosquito net. I realized it is not only for mosquitoes. They stuck it in well. And I had difficult time sleeping that night. Because this is very scary. It's jet black. There is always like hair on it. I was like, just took a picture and I didn't want to see it again another time. There's another strange plant in that lake, near the lake. You see, it's not a palm tree. It looks like one. It's just like the palm trunk. So it's not a palm tree actually. These are the palm trees. It's just a parasitic plant that went all the way up and made this. From far it looks like a palm tree, but it's not. All kinds of strange things are there. Okay, then I had this 15-year-old boy. I went with him for boating one time. Then after that, I thought I would just do it by myself. I didn't ask him. And then I went boating all by myself. Then I was enjoying, I also saw some hummingbird. I've always heard of hummingbirds. They're the smallest birds in the world, about 2.5 inches. I really saw it, it was amazing. Seeing a hummingbird is very exciting because they don't fly like normal birds. They can hover at one point, just like an insect. So I spotted one And I thought, okay, I'm getting better. I'm like a guide. I'm spotting a hummingbird. So I was enjoying seeing the lake. And then it was getting a little bit dark. I was on the other side of the lake. And the guest house that I was staying was on the other side. And you couldn't actually see the guest house. It's all hidden behind the forest. So nothing can be seen. So I was slowly coming back. I was very tired the whole day. I was outside. So I was slowly paddling. And then after a while it started to get dark. I was slowly paddling, and then I realized that I didn't realize that a storm is coming from the other side. It got very dark suddenly. And then the wind started to blow. And I was on the other side of the lake, and I was just crossing it. I was approaching the middle. And then I looked around, and I saw all the other boats were gone. Because the other guides, they are much better to understand that the storm is coming. But I didn't have any experience. So I was that made me very afraid. I'm in the Amazon full of caimans in the water. I'm in a boat, and this boat, it was a very old boat, you can see. It had a hole in it. And I had to take the water out every half an hour or so. This old boat, and this storm started to get stronger. I was very afraid. That was the point, probably the most dangerous and most exciting at the same time. I was all alone. You can imagine, I was very, very afraid. So I tried to paddle very fast. But then I thought, okay, what happens if I go at the middle and the storm comes and it gets stronger? If I flip, that's the end of it. That's the end of me. But if I go back to the land, that's the other side of the lake. And there are jaguars in the forest. Where do I go? So I took the risk. I started paddling really, really fast. It took me a long time. I started paddling, and then it started to get darker and darker and darker, and I had no way to figure out which direction I need to go. There was only a coconut tree. There were no other coconut trees, just one of them, and that's where my guest house was. I could see it from far, but it was getting very dark. If I would have missed it, if I went to somewhere else, either I had to stay in the boat the whole night, or I had to get inside the Amazon, which I didn't want to do. So I started really paddling fast. The storm became stronger and stronger, and the boat was not even going straight. The wind was turning it. That was very scary. I was trying to keep it straight, but the boat was turning like this. But I was very lucky. The storm decided not to get stronger. So the storm abated, and I came back safe. When I came back, nobody even knew what I was doing. We don't have gone for it. Let's go to the next one. This is the caiman in the lake. Okay. So after my experience of the Peru, in Amazon part of the Peru, I went to Brazil. I didn't have any problem. I had the visa, so I got inside Brazil. Then I realized Brazil was actually very, very expensive compared to Peru, or I heard that Bolivia was cheaper. So I went to Brazil, but then I decided, okay, I don't want to stay too long in Brazil. Let's just get inside Bolivia. When I wanted to get my visa to the consulate, I knew that, okay, I'm safe because with an Indian passport I can get a visa at the border. When I went there, they said, no, you cannot get a visa. Why? This is the rule that is written on the internet. Then the consulate general said that yes, with the Indian passport you can get a visa at the border of Bolivia, but we don't have that facility here. I was stuck there. What do I do now? Go back to Peru or go to another center? Then she suggested me, okay, you can do apply in the consulate. Luckily I had all the documents because I always had some doubt that I might be in trouble. So I had all the documents online, I just downloaded them and sent an application. The Consulate General said that I'll have to go through a police verification. Even though I was in Brazil for 2 days, I had to go through a police verification which was going to take me 10 days. And I was stuck in this bordering town where it was not interesting at all, expensive. And I was thinking what to do. Then I decided to move to a small village. It is all in the Amazon, which was cheaper. So I moved in a small village, and there in the guest house, I met this lady. She's a high school teacher, and it was like I went there, and the owner of the guest house introduced me to her, and we were very excited to meet an Indian. She has never met an Indian before, of course. But she did not speak any Spanish, and I did not speak a single word of Portuguese. The Brazilians speak Portuguese. I learned my first word, bom dia, in Brazil. So we had a very difficult time, but she didn't let it go. She was interested to know about India, something like that. So we used iPhone to translate. I will speak a few words, but when I speak Spanish, she understood me, and when she spoke Portuguese, I understood a small fraction of it. We somehow managed. She went back to her city, and she invited me to come while I wait. I didn't know her very well, so I was a bit hesitant, and I also didn't speak the language very well. So it was a difficult decision again, but I thought, okay, let's do it, go for it. So I went to Rio Branco. It's another big city, also in the Amazon, close to the border, not too far. And when I went there, she took me for a visit to her school. It was a high school. And then everybody was excited because they never saw an Indian before.
Again.
It's like somebody from the other side of the planet. But it's also funny because people in Peru, they thought I was a Peruvian. People in Bolivia, they also thought I was a Bolivian. And on a typical day, especially in Bolivia, somebody will come and start chit-chatting with me. Make jokes. And I'm a nice guy, I'm not saying anything, I just give smiles. That would mislead him again more. He'll think, okay, he's getting my jokes. He'll speak more. Then whenever I start speaking Spanish, then he gives me a strange look. What kind of Bolivian are you? Don't even speak Spanish very well. But in Brazil it was not like that. They knew that I am not Brazilian. So they got very interested, and the headmistress got to know that I am from India, I'm a scientist, I went to the US, I lived in France. So she thought it would be a good idea to give a lecture to the students, to inspire them. And she requested me to do that. I was like, I have never given a talk about myself. It's a very strange thing to do. So okay, I didn't say no. I thought, okay, it will be another experience. Let's do it. So I prepared a presentation in English, and we used Google Translate to translate in Portuguese. And my friend Erika, high school teacher, she helped me with the presentation. At the beginning, I asked the students, what do you prefer? Shall I speak English or shall I speak Spanish? And they said, I was really hoping the English. They said Spanish. And I hardly knew Spanish. So I still managed to say some basic things about myself, my family, where I did my education, what kind of research I'm doing, traveling I'm doing. And she understood my Spanish, and she translated in Portuguese and explained to the students. And they really liked my talk. We had some fun in the classroom. There were a lot of jokes. I didn't understand all the jokes. Nevertheless, I had fun. And we became really good friends. They added me on Facebook. After I came back, I sometimes once in a while get a message on Facebook in Portuguese. And I quickly go to Google Translate and reply them. So they have heard of my travel, and they were very curious about it. They asked me questions. I couldn't answer them very well, but okay. So then I got the visa eventually, and I entered Bolivia. Bolivia was very, very different than Brazil. I was for a short while I was in the part of the Amazon, and then I moved to Andes, high up the hill. There in La Paz, it's a very big city, it's a very high city. I tried to explore the areas close by. There are amazing archaeological sites in Bolivia, also in Peru. Brazil I did not explore so much. This is one of them. This is built by the Tiwanaku civilization. Tiwanaku civilization was before the Incas. And they were amazing people. They built this huge, this one is not the biggest, but I have seen huge monolithic structure. These are carved from stone, it's a one piece of stone. And this is like 1,000 years ago. They didn't have any modern technology. And they carved this out to make these monolithic structures. They also made these geometrical figures, which still puzzles all the archaeologists and scientists. Because the precision of this, the straight lines, the planes, the curves, the angles are exactly precise. And even with modern technology, they couldn't reproduce this. This is one of the mysteries of the Tiwanaku civilization. So I saw some of these things. Then I went to the Salar. It's another very interesting place in Bolivia, very famous, very popular. It's like a desert. You have seen deserts of sand, deserts of stones. This is a desert of salt. It's all salt. So you go there, you see the white everywhere. It's an amazing place. And because of there is no perspective, there are no trees, no plants, nothing can survive. And you can, no Photoshop is required. And if you take pictures like this, that person will appear to be on her hand. And people take crazy pictures like this there. Where did this salt come from? They were actually some prehistoric lakes that dried up, and the salt deposition is still there. It's like miles and miles and miles. And I did like 2-3 days of trip there. I stayed in a small hotel, it's like a hut, and everything there was made by salt. The walls were made by salt, the roof was made by salt. There was a table that was made by salt. Salt stone, petrified salt. Chair made by salt. We had a lot of fun there, and I saw some amazing landscapes. I'm just going to quickly go through them. This is in the Salar again. Amazing landscapes, lakes, flamencos, hundreds of flamencos. They're really beautiful. You see all this wildlife. It's like National Geographic. And some bizarre landscapes, bizarre formations. Not a good place for landing helicopter. And then I wanted to go back to Peru. At the border of Bolivia and Peru, there is Lake Titicaca. I've heard of this lake when I was a child. I read this in general knowledge. Lake Titicaca is the highest lake in the world, highest navigable lake in the world. It's a really beautiful lake. It's very clean. The natural beauty is just breathtaking. You can see. And they also have this archaeological sites. It's not very clear what were the functions of this. These were built by the Incas. This is a road built by the Incas. This is in one of the islands in Lake Titicaca. It's called Isla del Sol, Island of the Sun. The Inca mythology says that the original Inca Manco Capac was born here, and then he went to Cusco, and then he built this whole empire of the Incas. And this is an amazing island because no vehicles are allowed in this island. So it's very calm and quiet. And you can take a walk on this Inca trail. It's like a spiritual journey. And then I went to Nazca. It's like a desert. These things are built by another civilization, the Nazca people. These are also more than 1,000 years old. And nobody knew about these things until a plane went over this desert land and they saw these strange structures, strange figures. This is a hummingbird. And there are many others like monkeys, hands with 9 fingers, things like that. So you need to take a small plane and then you go over this and you see these things. I went to a desert after that. It was really fun climbing the sand. It's really difficult to walk on the sand. This is Huacachina in Peru. So I am already in Peru. Oasis in the desert. And these are sea lions. I also saw penguins. I did not know that you could see penguins. I always thought you'll have to go to Antarctica to see penguins. That is not true. You can see penguins in Peru. But these are not penguins. I saw penguins. These are sea lions. They are similar to seals. It was very amazing to see them from very close. So I finished my journey. I came back. I stayed 4 months in South America. Then I thought, okay, I am taking a gap year, so I will continue enjoying my time. I wanted to do all those things that I always wanted to do, but I never had the time to do it. So I went back to India. I traveled in South India for 1 month, Northeast India, which is very unexplored area of India. I traveled there for 1 month. I stayed with my parents, stayed in the villages, and then I got this postdoc position in Germany and came to this wonderful city, Weimar. And then last year I got married. In India, we like to have weddings in royal style. My wife Darina, she is doing her PhD in University of Washington University, St. Louis, in German literature. She's here in Weimar now, and we have a son. He's just 1.5 months old. So this is the baby that Darina gave birth to, and I also gave birth to another baby, which is this book. I thought I have some stories that are different, could be interesting for many people, so I wrote this travelogue. It's a book. I just published it, and I have some copies to give away today, if you want. That's it, I think. Do you guys have any questions?
Before any questions, we actually prepared something special for you as well. What your friend did was they bought a book, and they're also planning to give away to the people here for free if you win this lottery draw.
Oh.
So now, please write your names on the papers, and we're going to draw lots in the end, and the lucky winner is going to get the free book.
Okay, before we move on, I would like to invite all those my Indian friends who cooked delicious biryani for you guys. Please come here. Thank you guys. If you guys have any questions, I can take it.
How old are you?
He looks pretty young, right?
Yeah.
That's the correct answer.
20.
I'm young.
I want to ask something.
Yes.
Is it expensive to go to trips like this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think many people don't go to trips like that because they just simply don't have money. I have saved money for, I did not save money for this purpose, but I was saving for like 10 years. I had enough money to go on this trip. In South America, except maybe Brazil, I don't know all of Brazil, but that part I went was expensive, but Bolivia was very cheap, Peru was very cheap. It's totally affordable. But what is not affordable are the flights. The flights were expensive. So I encourage you to go wherever you want, but going far is expensive, but you don't need to go so far.
How was the process of writing the book? How long did it take? What did you learn, or what did you need to learn?
Oh, great. It's a whole different thing writing the book, yes. I'm not really a writer, so it was like a hobby for me. I only wrote it in my free time. So this was in 2013, so I took about 2 years to write this. It has many steps. You write the draft, you rewrite it, you edit it, you send it to your friends, they give feedbacks, and then you publish. The publishing process also takes time. And I did learn a lot. I did learn a lot about writing. I do like writing. So yeah, there is a lot to learn. Any other questions?
I have a question. So what was the motivation to write the book?
What was the motivation? Well, the motivation was, let's say, manifold. As you can tell already, my story revolves around traveling alone. How to travel alone, how to overcome the fear of traveling alone. I think it gives a lot. Not a lot of people realize it. When you are on the other side of the planet, there is nobody to help you. You have to be responsible, you have to take care of yourself. And in this process, you learn quite a lot. And I encourage all of you to do this. You won't have to go for such a long way or such a long time. But the more I got into difficult situations, the more adventures I did, the more I learned. And I'm also an introverted person. I don't really go to people and talk to them just like that. But in this trip I had to because I needed to. And that's a great lesson to learn as well. So this is a great lesson, and also for Indians and also in general, I think for Eastern people, this is a new idea of a gap year. Taking a gap 1 year to do something on your own. I actually don't think that gap year is a very good word. I would say a boost year. Because this did give me a boost. Like I could relax, I could do adventure, I could learn about myself. I could finally, explore. And then when I went back to do my research, I had so much more energy. It really boosted my energy. Did I answer that?
Again, a question. Are you planning to do again something like this?
Yeah. I was thinking maybe my second book will be the story of an Indian backpacker alone in Africa. It was a joke. But yeah, I do have another plan because I enjoyed this process of writing. So I always had a story in me. It's about like 16 years ago when I was a second year student in college. I and two of my friends went on a night hike, hiking in the night. And we got lost in the forest, in the Indian forest. And we didn't have any food and we ran out of water. But we survived for 2 days. So I have this story, and whoever I told this story to, they always loved it. They always told me that you should make a movie. Okay, I cannot make a movie, but I can maybe write about it. So I'm writing that. That is going to be my second book. That's also a true story.
So, what are you doing in Boston University?
Sorry?
What are you doing in Boston?
I'm a postdoc here. I work in the civil engineering department. I work in the Institute of Structural Mechanics, and I'm doing research on. I have background in computational chemistry. Now I'm doing material science, and I'm doing research on lithium-ion batteries. The batteries you use on your laptop and your cell phone, lithium-ion batteries. Scientists are trying to develop better batteries that you don't need to charge so often, that you can charge faster, and eventually they want to build electric cars, which will be affordable, and eventually replace.
So it was in Bolivia to take the metal. Bolivia has the most metal.
Yes, that's right. They have mines, silver mines. So yeah, that's the research I'm doing.
Sorry, how long did it take you? 1 year?
For what?
The journey?
The journey? Actually, the journey was not that long. It was just 4 months, but it was very eventful. Yeah, I didn't stay that long because I wanted to come back to India and also explore because India is so big itself. I have not seen a lot of it. But I took a whole 11 months off in total.
Any general advice as a backpacker?
General advice as a backpacker. I would say yes. That's actually a very good question. Most backpackers have, even though you think that okay, backpacker is a little bit different than the traditional way of traveling, but backpacking itself has become very traditional. Like if you do backpacking, you buy books about backpacking, you see certain things, you go to the hostel, things like that. I wanted to even do something different, like the way I stayed in this family in the lake in the Amazon. So I would say that follow your heart, do what you want to do. And it really doesn't matter whether it's going to be a backpacking story or whatever people think, it doesn't matter. So follow your heart, go where you want, because also my plan did not really work. I couldn't get a visa, I had to get stuck. So at the end I couldn't make a plan. So I just decided to go to the next stop and then decide. So it was completely random, and I think it's a great way to travel. If you make the whole plan, you cannot do adventures like this. You'll have to be flexible. You have to go where it takes you.
I have a very practical question. Like, do you bring a lot of money with you, or because obviously maybe there's no bank you can withdraw,
It's a very
right?
good practical question. Yes, I had to rely on my international credit card. That was also a bit disturbing because sometimes my card didn't work. And in Brazil, I put it in an ATM and it didn't work. So I freaked out because I didn't have. I had some money, but not enough. But then I had to run around the town to other ATMs, other banks. Nothing worked, and I came back. And then the guard of the bank helped me. It turned out that I was not pulling the card fast enough. That was the problem. But it worked. But yeah, I did rely on international credit card because you can't carry a lot of cash.
In your whole trip, did you miss anyone?
Ah yes, definitely. Definitely, I missed my family. My girlfriend was in France, so I missed family and
And
friends.
how often you in touch with your family and friends?
Whenever I could get like internet. In the Amazon area, there you cannot find internet everywhere, but you can. I did not have an iPhone. I preferred not to have one. But whenever I could go to a cyber cafe, I could talk to them.
Will you prepare physically for the height of Machu Picchu, or did you suffer alone walking there?
To walk there? We cheated. We took the bus to go up there, but we walked down. Yeah, it was a nice walk down. Because my friend was more lazy. I wanted to walk. There was a question, right?
How long does it take to write?
Yeah, as I said, I did not write it full time. It's just my hobby. So I only took my free time to write it, and it took me 2 years. So it's hard to answer that. It's not a very long book. It's like 170 pages. And the good thing for this book was that I was writing it while I was traveling. So I had a diary. So I kept writing it, and that was very helpful. At the end, I just put it together. It's some editing. It's much easier. I think if you want to write, that's probably a good idea. Keep writing. Don't think about a whole big book. Keep writing, and then put it together, so it becomes a good book. No more questions? Okay, guys. So I have some books. I have kept the cost. I would wish to give you for free, but it costs money to print it. I have kept my profit 0, so it's €5. If you want to get the book, I have some copies. Thank you very much.
Let me play some music, and then you can see.
Do you have a lottery?
No, later. Otherwise, it's too long.
Where were you putting
Well, just for time being, I will find it.